Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's DLloyd. So we have a trade that went down this morning. It is not completely official yet. There's going to be some more changes to the trade. Potentially, we know for sure there will have to be a player release in order to make this trade become official. But we have the overall, the blueprint, right, of what this trade is going to be between the New York Knicks and the Toronto Raptors. Now, let's go ahead and break down what each team is getting, and I'll give you guys pretty much my opinion about who won the trade and how this benefits or maybe is not beneficial to each team. Now, the New York Knicks, they are going to be receiving OG Anunoby, who has been a very sought-after trade target really for the last 2.5 seasons. They're going to get OG on the team. Malachi Flynn is coming, and Precious Achiuwa is also going to be coming to New York from Toronto. What is Toronto getting back in return? Well, they're getting RJ Barrett in return. They're getting Emmanuel Quickly, and they are getting a second-round pick. Now, that second-round draft pick is the Detroit Pistons' second-round draft pick. So, unless something crazy happens, which most people would not expect to happen based off how the season has been going so far, that should essentially be the #1 pick in the second round this season, because we know how bad Detroit has been. It could theoretically change, but you should know it's more than likely going to be a really good second-round pick, essentially a late first-rounder, but, you know, a second-round pick nonetheless. So, an interesting return for OG Anunoby, because we knew he was probably going to go at some point. The assumption was, at least the assumption on my behalf was, he was going to be going for probably a package of draft picks. So they did get a draft pick, but they opted to get the actual players in return instead. So you get RJ Barrett. What does RJ Barrett do to you? RJ Barrett, we know, is a very good player. He's a fine player. I don't think maybe lived up to the expectations coming out of the draft from Duke, but he is a very solid piece. You get him, he is more of your natural wing, your natural, 2 to 3. You don't have to really shoehorn a forward, which they've been doing before. You can now let him play on the wing naturally, and he could be good for you there. You then get Emmanuel Quickly, who you could view as potentially your point guard of the future, because Emmanuel Quickly, he comes in, he knows, he's a really good point guard in my opinion. I am biased. Obviously, I graduated from the University of Kentucky, so I am biased towards our Kentucky players, but I think he's a very good point guard. But what makes it interesting about going to get Emmanuel Quickly is he's going to be a restricted free agent, which means if you want him, you're going to be able to re-sign him. So you pretty much guarantee future years of Emmanuel Quickly. So it is a different route besides going and getting the draft picks. You're saying, hey, these guys, RJ Barrett drafted really high. You have these guys that there are proven commodities. I know what they're going to bring. Maybe they don't have as high of a potential as a draft pick, because a draft pick, don't know exactly what you're going to get. But you don't have the floor of a draft pick neither, because you can also draft a bust with any of the draft picks. Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, they're not busts. I don't think anybody will consider them busts. They will contribute to a team, and they play at starting caliber levels. Also, for Toronto, you don't know exactly what's going to happen with Dennis Schroeder. We are hearing that Dennis Schroeder may not finish the year with Toronto. And if that is the case, Emmanuel Quickly definitely is going to be a very valuable piece. So, for Toronto, I'm a fan. I like the move. It's one of those moves, again, that I think both teams benefited, but I do like that move. Now, looking at the New York Knicks end of the bargain, they had to release a player in order to get room and make this trade go through. So we will expect probably in the next day or two some type of news breaking, maybe if not today, some type of news breaking about which player will be waived from New York. But looking at what they get in OG Anunoby, you lose 2 starters, but I think you get a little bit of a better fit, or lose 2 players, you get a little bit of a better fit, right? Because you have Jalen Brunson, you have Julius Randle. OG Anunoby fits in. I think he fits in with that. He will come in immediately. He was averaging 15 points a game this season for Toronto. I think he can come in, and you can see an uptick in that. I can see 18 to maybe 20 points a game from OG. I just think he kind of helps blend in that starting unit for New York. And I think that is what really attracted them to this deal. And it's not to say they were forcing it with RJ Barrett or they were forcing it with Emmanuel quickly, but you get a guy who fits in a little bit better, in my opinion. And I think that is why it is essentially worth it to go do a deal like this. Precious Achiuwa is a guy who could give you some depth here and there. Malachi Flynn, he could be a depth piece. I'm not too big on him personally, so I'm not a huge fan of that, but I think getting Precious is fine. But OG definitely going to do work for you. Going to be able to play both sides of the ball. I like it. I like it. I think it's not the best deal. I guess I would describe it as it is a good deal for the New York Knicks. I don't think it is great. I don't think it's nothing crazy, but I think it works and it fits. So I will say this is a good deal. I'll give them a B grade for this. Going to get OG. I think he fits in. I will grade this probably a B+ for Toronto. I think for them, you trade in one guy, you get 2 pieces back, and a draft pick that is essentially end of the first round, the number 1 pick in the second round potentially. So I think you get some pieces back and you kind of just reset. You kind of reset things and then figure out the roster construction from there. But you have guys that you can rock with long term. You know what they are. And I think that is going to benefit Toronto the most. And then for the Knicks, you get a guy who can fit in and help you continue to compete right now. Because that is what New York is essentially trying to do. And I think they do accomplish what they're setting out to do with this trade. So you guys let me know what you guys think about the trade in the comment section below. Did one team get over on another team? Did they both win this trade? Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And as usual, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead and leave this video a like. It helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.